All right, guys, we are starting in 20 seconds. Come on in and take your spots. Come on in. We are starting in 20 seconds. All right. Well, as you make your way in, I'm just going to start because we have 45 minutes for a very important session. This second session is all about starting a second service. So an ethnic church starting a second service. Here's 5 quick don'ts, okay? 5 things you don't do, okay? If you're looking to start a second service. Number 1, don't start with just a bunch of youth. It's one of the worst things you will do. Don't start with just a bunch of youth. That's a huge mistake. I've planted 6 churches or campuses. If I look back at the ones that were the worst, they were the ones that we've just started with youth. You want to plant with families in mind, right? And so if you're thinking, oh, we're just going to move our youth service to become an English service, that is not a healthy model, okay? Here's a little secret. One of the things that we do as a church, we're always thinking about diversity, but in a healthy way, not in like the diversity of what it means today in the culture, but in a healthy way. You know, one of the things that we'll regularly do is we'll look at the stage, our worship team, and we'll say, hey, do we have somebody that's older on the worship team? Because people are coming in from the community, and if it's just all the youth in our door, on our stage, and everything, that's not a healthy look. Right? And so as a pastor, I'm always looking for diversity. So if you're thinking of starting an English service, don't just start with a bunch of youth. Number 2, don't start without the full support of all your elders and pastor. Right? If this is something you're like, well, we're just going to kind of squeeze it in. And if you don't have the support of your elders behind this, it's just not the season for it. Can I tell you, all the demonic forces out there are against a healthy community service. And if you have your elders also against it, like, why are you doing this, right? So pray, get them to come to events like this, take them to some healthy churches. And today, can I tell you, you're gonna get to see leaders from diverse backgrounds, right? Baptist, Pentecostal, very traditional, very charismatic, like diverse backgrounds, yet very healthy English and Slavic services. Like this church right here is a prime example of healthy 2 services. And so before you start, get your elders, your pastor, like your pastor needs to be the number 1 cheerleader for the service. Otherwise, don't start, okay? Number 3, now I understand some churches take smaller steps when it comes to starting 2 services. But really, as you think through starting an English service, make sure you're also thinking through for allowing ordinances to be at that service. When I say ordinances, we're talking about communion, we're talking about baby dedications. Now, you can do an annual water baptism when you bring everybody together, right? That's great. And you can do events where you are together. But if you're gonna say, well, we're just gonna create some weird kind of schedule where once a month we're gonna cancel things, and once a month the English service doesn't really count, so we can't do communion there, it just means that you're maybe just not fully baked yet, not fully ready, right? So you wanna make sure as you're thinking through 2 services, you're thinking about ordinances. Those are important for the church as well. Number 4, as you launch your service, make sure you get your communication right. So if your idea is that you want to reach the community, like think through your announcements every week, right? Sometimes I'll go to a church that is English, and then when you look at their English service and all their announcements are still in Russian. Like if you're going to do an English service, like think through your communication, think through your website, think through, like look at your social media. How are the services listed? Is it easy for the community to understand? Oh wait, this is a Slavic service, and this is a service that is for the community. So get your communication in place. And then number 5, you really have to work hard on getting the service times right. And today you're going to see examples of pastors who have taken a hard step. So yesterday we mentioned it a little bit. It's easier when you do your English service first, then your Slavic service, because the English service ends on time, right? Many times when your Slavic service is gonna go over, and plus the Slavic people really after service like to stay long and fellowship. I remember one time when we launched an English service at City Hill when I was at one of the campuses, and man, I remember the English service starts at 12:45, 12:30, I mean, they're doing a second altar call. At 12:30, the parking lot is packed, right? So by the time they finish and people are getting out, and the people from the community are driving, it's like, oh man, it's gonna be packed service. They're looking, finally somebody leaves, they find a parking spot, and they come in, and the building is packed, and then they're walking in, there's nobody in the sanctuary. It's like, what's going on? Did I miss it? Did something change? It's really hard to do it well. Now, some Slavic churches are really good in terms of ending on time, but if you can get the English service, and here's the thing, the English service is gonna need a little bit of help. It's gonna need a little bit of wind. So if you're gonna, do an 8:30 English service or even a 9 o'clock English service, it's a little tough. It's a little tough if that's your only English service. Now, if you're doing multiple English services, 9 o'clock is great as an option. But if it's your only option, it's really hard. Plus, if you're thinking about the afternoon, well, let's just put it at 1 o'clock. It's like, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to start a service to kill it? Like, if that's your goal, then just don't start it. And then the last thing I will say, in America, a lot of churches will start campuses. Did you know that only when they start campuses, only the third time will the campus be successful? So they'll launch it twice and shut it down, and on the third time it'll be successful. We worked with dozens and dozens and dozens of churches that have started English services. Many of them started it, paused it, rebuilt the team, started it, paused it, learned from mistakes, started it, and sometime around the third time, it takes off. If you've ever been to House of Bread, they've got 4 services now on Sunday morning, 2 English, 2 Slavic. Only on the third or fourth time did their English service actually take off. And so it's hard. It's hard to do. So, all right, well, I'm gonna get some men up here and we're gonna talk some Q&A. So I wanna invite Pastor Alex Piekon back up here, the new bishop of Slavic NSD, new head bishop. Good man right here. I want to invite the bishop of this house, Pastor Peter Yevchik, if you can come up here. I want to invite the true bishop of all of Florida, Igor Simonchik. Where's Pastor Igor? I want to invite also Vitaly Rachuk from Georgia. And I want to invite George Nestertsov up here as well. So awesome. Yeah, you can sit right here. George, come on up here. So I know you got to hear last night from a couple of these guys. So we're gonna hear from 2 whom you haven't heard. And the first question is, how did you guys start your English service? So I'm gonna start with Alex and then Igor, if you can share that question, that answer. So first of all, Alex, you guys have 3 Sunday morning services.
Yes.
What time are the services?
8:30, 10:30, 12:30.
Guess what time is the English service?
10:30.
Okay. Now, listen, would it be easier to do 2 Slavic services back to back because you've got the same worship teams, right? Why do you not have 2 Slavic services and then an English service?
And I have to say that we started the English service from the first time, and it works from the first Sunday. And I think that the key is this: you have to have a right vision why you are doing. I'll give you a little explanation biblical, because sometimes our idea is not as powerful. You remember the story when disciples came back and Jesus talking to Samaritan woman, and they were amazed what's happening. And Jesus replied to them is this: there's a 4 season, there's a harvest time. And he said to them, lift up your eyes and see, the harvest is ready. And then he said the next part, those people who reaps, they receive reward. So basically, English service in our church started not because we decided, okay, our kids need English service. That also was very, very important reason. But I think for me and for my team, we realized this is the harvest time. We want to be part of something that God is doing for more. So we spent a lot of time talking to teams, to church, to every grandma, until everybody was on board supporting. And that's why they gave us the prime time. They gave us the prime. Now we have, every Wednesday, we have 2 services at the same time, Russian and English. Guess what? They gave us the main sanctuary for the English service. They've been using this for as long as church exists. They paid off the building, but they went to, we give them a different room. Yes, we spend a little, maybe $25,000 just to remodel a little bit so it will be much more comfortable. But they gave us, and the only reason why they gave us, because Lord gave me ability to talk to them, to convince them, to show them why we are doing this and why is this crucially important for the church, and they support it. And I have no person in our church who's against it or not supporting this.
Yeah. How long has your English service been going?
About 5 years, maybe more.
5 years. Igor, tell us a little bit about your story, how you guys launched your English service.
Well, I don't know, I listened yesterday and I listened today to some of it, and I would tell you, we go way back to 2012. That's how we started, and if it's a beginning, we don't start the service, but we start with the prayer. So like Alex says, he was a pastor that he goes to every family. We started with the prayer. We have a good group of people. We have transaction between the youth ministry to another pastor, youth pastor. And when we came to the position, I remember senior pastor Leon Maslow to our house. We had a dinner together, and I says, hey, we've been talking about it. Well, I was a youth pastor in the church about English service. And I tell him, well, here's the thing, is I have this burden in me that we have to continue to do, and I think its time is coming. So I give him 3 reasons why we need it. First of all, we have, like Alex was saying, the harvest. I says we have a need inside of our church, is that we don't have to go on the street. We have inside of the church that need. A second, we have very traditional Slavic service, and you have the younger generation who is born here and speak English, and God choose them to be part of the ministry. And in order to express themselves, they are shy to come and do with the interpreter at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. for the Slavic people. So I says, we have a group of people that are ready to minister. We need to give them the platform for that reason. And the third reason was, community. We've been here for 20 years, and we're talking about it. Everybody knows that there is a Slavic church here, and a big parking lot, a lot of cars, and but we don't do nothing in the community. So this is something that was up there. And I says to him, well, this burden is on me, and I want to lay it on you, Pastor, and he's a bishop. And I says, I want to lay it, you're responsible from now on. I'm not going to take it. When you're ready, when our church is ready, you tell me what we're doing it. And in that time, like I said, we already was a group of people praying about this. And also, I've been talking to our brothers and sisters, we talk about the team here, trying to already prepare team who is ready to go. So we got worship team pretty much was ready for it, and worship team we had a youth in a worship team, but also the couples, the families, young families that was in a worship team. And I just don't remember, there was that Sunday or following Sunday, it was service, and it was a communion service, and after the communion, with that time we had a 10 o'clock service. Senior pastor doing an announcement, he goes, tonight we were not going to have an evening church just like we do in it. We're going to start our English service tonight, And I'm going to be the responsible, but Igor's going to coordinate the youth service. So that's how we started coming back in, it was 2013, 2014, that time we started. And we started our youth service once a month, evening service. And majority of time we didn't have that good agreement in the church. We had our ministers were divided in a board. Members were divided. We went through a lot of hardship. I don't know if you want to hear the whole story. It's a book. It needs to be written down.
Pastor Peter, you started a ministry called Pastor's Legacy, and honestly, it's a great ministry. I've been watching some of the interviews you do, but it seems like you're building up something here that's going to leave a legacy, and it takes a father's heart to do that. When did that happen for you? How did you trust? Tell us just your heart and kind of your wrestling. And you can answer in Russian.
Спасибо огромное. Пожалуйста, если можно добавить, спасибо. Я воспользуюсь правами местного пастора. Буду говорить по-русски. Во-первых, огромное спасибо всем, кто пришел и кто сегодня среди нас. Для нас это большая привилегия служить вам. Pastor's Legacy. Очень быстро, буквально 3 или 4 года назад, наверняка многие из вас знают, в Украине была большая конференция, на которой было примерно 1600 делегатов. И там был опрос, кто из вас желает быть пастором на full time. Потом следующий вопрос был, кто желает иногда ехать на миссию. И еще один вопрос, кто желает быть волонтером. И статистика была такова. Из 1600 делегатов, по статистике примерно 3,5 или 4 человека сказали, что они готовы служить, быть пасторами или служителем на full time. Я об этом давно молился о молодом поколении, новой генерации, что не все хотят нести служение. Но этот момент статистика меня просто подтолкнула. И на сегодняшний день Pastor's Legacy служение мы имеем видение и стратегию. Первое – это мотивация молодого поколения, чтобы они, приходя в церковь, принимали водное крещение, рождались свыше, но очень важно, чтобы они находили себя в Церкви Христовой. Второе – мы вдохновляем людей, которые уже несут служение, и благословляем их. И третье, сложноватое чуть-чуть, иногда даже спорное. Мы молимся, благословляем, ведем переговоры, вдохновляем тех, кто остановился в служении. И Pastor's Legacy, я называю это предпенсионный проект. Не пенсионный, а предпенсионный. Потому что я думаю, что скоро пойду на пенсию. И я верю, что у Бога есть большой план. И дело в том, что в моем сердце есть много переживаний за молодое поколение и за служителей. Так Бог мне дал. Я 8 лет был миссионером, потом 8 лет был лидером молодежи в штате Нью-Йорк и в церкви, и уже 15 лет здесь, в Шарлотте. У меня есть определенное понимание, что значит быть лидером, что значит быть служителем, и у меня есть желание собрать как можно больше информации. Мы записали, я думаю, где-то около 100 разных программ, это 100 разных людей, как они пришли к Богу. И можно было бы говорить очень много, но есть большое желание в будущем проводить специальные встречи, ретриты. И еще один из таких моментов для служителей, музыкантов, певцов, которые устали. У меня есть желание, чтобы были построены несколько домов в Америке, один из них в Украине, конечно же, где служители, музыканты, певцы, лидеры, кто несут служение, чтобы они не догоряли, не перегорали, но чтобы вовремя была возможность, чтобы их отправить, чтобы они могли отдохнуть и продолжать дальше свое служение. Спасибо.
Thank you. All right. So my question is this. We love to hear stories of success. But I think even more than stories of success, we want to learn from people's mistakes. If I were to announce, we're going to separate into 2 different rooms. One is why we're so successful, and 2, mistakes we made. Most of you will go into the room where people will be honest about mistakes they've made. So I want you to be honest. What are some mistakes you think in your launching of English services, some honest mistakes that you think you learn through? Now, mistakes are only mistakes if you don't learn from them, but what are some things that you think you've made that you wish you could go back and redo differently?
So if I can first say a question to everyone, has God not been faithful in your life? And that's something I've seen in my life. One thing that you mentioned before is if the leaders don't, or if the brothers don't approve of the service, why proceed? And that was one of my questions that I had, one of the struggles, because I felt a big burden to go and launch this English service, even though it wasn't like a great, ecstatic, exciting moment. It was being cautious, and I was very hesitant. But really trusting the Lord. You know, it says a man plans his ways, but the Lord directs his steps. And I said, Lord, if it is your will for this to happen, may you open the doors. And I saw God's hand opening those doors. But as far as mistakes, I mean, we're perfect, so I don't think we have any. But honestly, it's been about a year since we started our service, and I feel like we're learning with every step. One thing would be to not put your trust in man. And one thing that you mentioned to me, and I think it was you or your wife, was the people who launch service with you won't be the ones that will stay necessarily. They may, but they may not. And I saw this to be the case. Like, I'm not hurt in any way by anyone who left, but God used these people to start this service, and then God sent new people to replace those. So I think a big thing is not to put your trust or hope in man. And I feel like that creates a great thing. Like, one of the greatest things that a preacher can experience is humility, to go up on stage and fail miserably, because it shows him that, hey, it's not about you, it's about God. Like the Billy Graham tour that we went through, Billy Graham made such a big impact, but he said, it's not about me, it's about the Lord. So if I can say, that's just one thing I would like to share. Thank you.
Brother, we visit almost every CMC training, so you taught us how to do without mistakes. That's why we took our team, and that's what we did with it every time. So no mistakes, brothers, no. But what we would do, I think we'd do differently. We would invest more probably time to raise some leaders, English speaking leaders who can really preach and then lead in the English service. That's what we feel like we don't have enough, or we're not ready for that. Then what we're missing.
Let me pause you for a second. This is so good. Some of you are part of churches, maybe even watching online. Your church is not ready. Your brothers are not ready. Well, it doesn't mean that you can't start today to do something. So if your brothers are not ready, you know what you could do today? Start working with your teenagers. Invest them into some good expository preaching. Raise them up because good preachers. Because it's just going to be a matter of time till you can actually start an English service. Prepare the team right now. That's the team. So good point.
Yeah, and then second, that's we used to have one service, and we always like to welcome people. Like we're a very welcome church, and we like to spend time in the lobby. And what we're missing right now, like a first service, we're okay, we have time to spend with people, but second service, only 30 minutes break. And we just rearrange everything for second service, and I miss that to communicate with people on the front door for the second service. That's something, we're missing, and we feel we need to do something better on that end.
I don't like mistakes in the ministry. I would rather spend a little bit more time in preparation. So like crafting the vision, like Russell was saying, communicating that we're not gonna go with the youth only. It has to be families. So I prayed through that and planned through that and talk about it, and we were successful in this part. Here's one mistake, I think. Because we had two services for a long time. and I was responsible for the second service, and we were translating my messages in all the services. And one day I come to my team and say, why don't you, because we're still translating and we have even American people attending our church, maybe I should start preaching in English at least once a month. And this was my mistake. I listened to my team. They say, Alex, it's going to be weird. You're going to be with your accent, and then they're going to interpret you into Russian. You're much fluent in Russian. Why don't you just continue? So for me, it was difficult because I had to kind of learn, develop new skills, how to communicate better in English, because English is not my primary language. That was my mistake. I should not listen. I should prepare myself. So like Russell said, there's a lot of things you can do now. The second thing that I realized is this, that even though we have a vibrant team and good team, but it was not sufficient team. Because on the Slavic side, we have plenty of resource ministers. But when we opened the English service and it was successful from day one, I realized that sometimes I had to work very, very hard to cover a lot of ground. Why? Because I have young leaders. They are good, but they still lack of experience, lack of knowledge of to deal with this, and they read the books and they watched a lot of podcasts. But podcast and experience are totally two different things, because you still need to develop skills, how to serve people, how to not offend people, how to love them, how to have a father's heart, things like this. So those things like this. And the biggest issue I think we went through, and we still continue, is the transition, because we want to adapt, we want to welcome American people and things like that, but there's a lot of Slavic blood, and even though we walk away from all the Russian language and things like this, but still the way we fellowship, the way we greet one another, the way we want to spend time after, it's just overwhelming. They come and they just want to say hallelujah and they go home, but we start another service after the service in fellowship, and then they are overwhelmed, and they want to be there, but it is too pricey. So there's a lot of things happening, but with the Lord's help we will be successful.
Anybody else? Mistakes?
Well, one of the mistakes, to me, is we did a lot of mistakes. We're not perfect as a church, or we started too early. And one of the things that I say our mistake that we did it, that we started once a month. It is good ministry. It's good to have it. But if you want to have a church cannot be once a month, because the people that come and visit and attend don't own it. They feel welcome, they enjoy it, but the church needs to be part of the body. You need to be in that community, and when you do once a month, people get lost in a way, and so that's one of the things that I consider was one of the mistakes. Another mistake that I consider is my mistake. I love the Lord and I trust the Lord and He's being faithful, but you always have the people around you, and the people were, I would say, considered a part of the team, and they betrayed. And they left because they got better offer, they got better, because not everyone up there to serve people. Some people have this ego inside of them that they are talented and gifted and all that. So that was hurting when some of the people that were not the key people, but the important people that left you, and you feel the betrayal, that you feel that you carry all this, and why you? Do I need it? It's hard. And that would my mistake as a leader, as a responsible, that the people demand from you, and you thinking that you will. So that was my what I do different right now. Like, I delegate, and I never how you say it. I'm never waiting for them to be fully dedicated. I understand there could be short term or this, but this is your service today. You are responsible. God bless you. May the anointing be upon you. But I don't trust like for long term that they're gonna be there all the time. So, and another thing that I consider is, even though Brother Alex says that, well, I went to every person, and I think I waste a lot of time and energy to justify the English service to many of our members. So I would recommend, God call you, God has the field for you, that's your path, you move on. Don't justify yourself, because you will never prove to people that what you're doing is the right thing. We will never prove to people that God called you for this direction. So don't waste your energy. It's better if you stay in the Word, pray, and that's what I would recommend.
That's such a good point, because I remember one of the churches that I was at, Slavic Church, we were trying to get them to be on board for an English service, and he was so against it. Then all of a sudden, his kids grew up and he just left to an American church. And it's like, dude, you were so against English service, and then well, it's my kids. So sometimes you gotta just let people move on.
Can I just share a little clarity? Because I did not run to every grandma to justify it. Maybe I did not communicate it properly. You have to share with the people reason, the vision behind it. And when I said, this is the reality, this is what happening in our churches, and I said to them, please help me, they will rise up to help me. And I said to them, guys, older generation, I love you. You are most faithful people. Probably if I would choose you in some aspect, but let me tell you, I'm choosing them. I'm choosing young people. You've heard enough messages. You've been a lot in the church services. Even if we're gonna shut down the church, you can go to heaven and finish your path with no more sermon. You had it enough. But this generation will become a Gentiles like world had never seen. So I choose them. So please help me. Can we join together? When I talk to them like very openly, lovingly, but at the same time boldly explain to them the challenge, the proper vision, they will rise with you and they will say, let's do it. But if you just share with them, oh, nada English, nada angliska, nada, they think division, they're afraid. Parents will not sit at the same pew with them. They just see a lot of pictures. If you're gonna show them the right reality, they will support you. Amen. The Lord's gonna help you to do that.
Yeah. Quick suggestion in terms of mistake for us, really quick. So when we started Woodmark Church, we started with 7 Slavic couples, or 7 couples that had a Slavic background. And one of the things, I remember one service, we had a great service. Everything was awesome. But Monday, we're like, man, something's off. Something was off. And I'm like, what's going on? So I go back to our YouTube and I rewatched the service, and what I noticed, now at that time about 30% of our people were non-Slavic. But I watched the service and everybody who was on the stage had a Slavic background. Even though 30% of our people in our church are not Slavic. Now, a lot of those people I don't know for a long time. I can't trust with the microphone. But at the same time, I felt like we gotta do something for them to be visible even in the stage. So one of the things that we did as a church that we're very, very instrumental about. So we have, during the course of our service, we have 4 people that hold the microphone. 1, the person who starts the service. 2, the person who hands worship and hosts the service. 3, the person that's doing the preaching. And we started a 4th person. So before the sermon, we do scripture reading, where we invite everybody to stand and we read a scripture that is connected to the sermon. And I thought, hey, anybody can read scripture. And this is where I can quickly bring in some diversity, right? So one of the things that we said, okay, of the 4 people that hold the microphone, we always say, 1 definitely has to be with a non-Slavic background. And 2, we're always thinking young and old. young and old, right? So if there's just young guys all the time, let's bring in an older person. And the third element that we do for us is that one of them has to be a female. Either reading the scripture or opening the service. Now, I understand some churches are very male-dominated. For us, all our preaching is by male, but we're going to involve a female in one of those four every Sunday. And so as we're thinking through Sunday, we're always thinking those four people. Is there one definitely non-Slavic? Is there young and old? And is there a male and a female? And that allows us to bring in some new voices, right? It allows us to train some people. And then when people begin, they feel that there's a place for me in the church. That's been really, really, really helpful for us. Okay, speed questions for you guys. Really quickly. So how often does the senior pastor speak at the English service?
Average, well, we have one a month, one of the ministers, not a senior, one of a month, one of the ministers that come and preach.
But your senior pastor, how often?
I would say every 2 months.
Every 2 months.
По большим праздникам, то есть Christmas, какие-то дни специальные. И с первого дня мы договорились, что я как старший пастор участвую в английском потоке с переводом каждую 5-ю или 6-ю неделю.
Every 5 or 6 weeks.
It's easier for us because I'm a senior pastor. So I preach at least 2 Sundays. When I preach all 3 services. And when I don't preach, the pastors and preachers from each service, they preach their own services.
So for me, my father's a senior pastor. First service he preached, and he hasn't spoken since. I've been trying to just give him rest since he preaches a lot in the mornings. But he would come every Sunday to kind of watch our kids with my mom because my wife would sing. But he hasn't come much. He just kind of trusts us now. But I kind of feel bad. I probably should have him speak one of these Sundays. And I think it would be a good thing.
So I'm as the senior pastor, give opportunity for the younger people who speak English perfectly to preach in English services, but about quarterly. I will do with translation. Sometimes I lead communion or other events or in the church in English language. So about quarterly,
Wow.
4-6 times a year.
Wow. But notice bringing them into other aspects like communion, like those certain elements is beautiful because it creates that unity, it creates that trust. It's beautiful to do. Next quick question. How often do you bring everybody together, the whole church? Because eventually you're going to have different people that come to different services. How often do you bring everybody together?
We try at least like 4 or 5 times a year.
Мы примерно тоже 2-3 раза, но это становится тяжело, потому что маловато места. Но мы запланировали, например, там, День Благодарения, водное крещение, юбилей церкви. Ну, мы по-любому это делаем совместным, хотя это становится тяжело.
No, we don't combine much services together. We create fellowships like backyard fellowships, park fellowships, water baptism, other fellowships that all church gets together in fellowship. That's easier than feeding. I mean, our sanctuary could not hold them all.
Same thing with us. We cannot hold if everybody's with the kids come. We cannot hold. So, just for example, we went slowly from year to year. First, we thought, well, we can hold the Thanksgiving service together, and it happens we are not able. Well, next year we switched. We did Thanksgiving with, Then this year it was the last year that we did Чистый четверг. We got together for the church, and pastor says that's it. We're not doing it because church, even kids was not there, only people. But I don't see a lot of people from our 1 p.m. service did not show up for the communion. And what we did is we're gonna do the Americans celebrate Good Friday, so we're gonna do the Good Friday service, and then our church 9 a.m. is gonna still do the Чистый четверг.
So the reason why I want you guys to hear this is don't feel pressured like, oh my goodness, we have to be together every month. No, like, the elders can be together, the leaders can be together, but But it's okay if your church, don't meet together every month. Next question, how many elders do you have that go to both services? What amount of people? Is it 2? Is it 20? What group of people, how many people actually attend multiple services?
In our case, we have agreement. All the ministers and all the leaders, they visit in 2 services, both services. And before we even start, that was our dream, our desire, our need. And then I share with the ministers. And then about a year ahead before we open English service, we shared this vision with the church. So a year later, it was not only our vision, it was vision, it's not only ministers' vision, but vision for whole church. And we feel the full unity when we do both services. So we have ministers there, leaders there, pastors there, everybody on both services.
В нашей церкви мы стараемся, чтобы было примерно 50 на 50, всех в общем около 25 человек, но мы замечаем тенденцию, что на английском потоке больше служителей. И у нас было рукоположение в прошлом году, мы рукоположили 6 человек, 3 пастора и 3 диакона, и они все в английский поток. Поэтому мы работаем над этим, чтобы был определенный баланс. И я хочу просто добавить, что среди недели наши все служения, репетиции, общения, они совместные. У нас нет такого понятия английский поток, не английский поток. То есть среди недели все полностью, все вместе. Поэтому таким образом мы не чувствуем каких-то таких моментов, так сказать, разделения, о которых обычно боятся все говорить и даже делать. Я говорю за старших пасторов.
In our church, pretty much none. My associate pastor, he is attending English and Russian 2 services. But the rest of the team, we have a separate team, minister team to each service. So our worship team, who serves the English service, it's also sing at the Russian service, at the 3rd service. There is a couple family who attend English and Russian, maybe 2 or 3 family that I know. The reason they do that because they want their kids to be also adapted to our Russian language. Because one of the things, I removed the translation. As soon as we opened the English service, at that Sunday, I removed all the translation. And the reason I explain to people is this. I don't want parents, I don't want you to be thinking, if you bring your teenagers to a Russian service where there is a English translation, that they are listening for the translator, because they don't. So I don't want to give you a false hope. We have English service, so if you care for your kids, move there, relocate, change your schedule. But other than that, usually it's none of the ministers that attend. I mean, once in a while, who needs to go early, drive somewhere, they will attend this service. But on the regular basis, everyone comes to their own service.
In our circumstances, I do attend both services 95%. Not other ministers or anybody else, except we have one Sunday that lead the service, and they lead both services in the morning and English. And another thing that what we have in our church that we get together, we have the ministers gathering that 1 p.m. service and a 9 a.m. We gather together for once a month, and then we have a separately for the leaders that do 1 p.m.
Awesome. Our time is up. The only thing I would just say, again, every church is going to approach it differently, and I wanted you guys to see different variations up here. And because some of you are looking to kind of do it in a certain way, it's like, hey, connect with churches that do it this way. One comment just from my past experience, midweek, it's good to do things together, right? You don't have as much people. But sometimes you have to be wise in how you can make it. So for example, if you're growing your English service and people are starting to come from the community and you're doing a men's dinner that's going to be all in Russian, it's a little bit unfair to be announcing the English community to come without translation. So you have to kind of think through then your communication, like who are we inviting for this really, and have we thought through the interpretation for those kind of events?
Like for us, like a men's and women's events with us mostly together, and our community, the English community, they have no problem. They enjoy, but we make sure that we almost like our primary language is English, and we translate to Russian. So they feel comfortable. They appreciate the relationship, the variety. So I think we don't have a problem with that.
Awesome. Well, let's give it up for this group. And all right, we're going to take a 15-minute break, and we come back. We're doing a session on next gen, and then right afterwards, there won't be a break after that because we're going to transition to a Q&A, a general question and answer that a lot of these people will be a part of. So if you got some questions, you can kind of think through because we'll do a Q&A. Let's take a 15-minute break.